let's get into a little bit more election news. One of the most hysterical things that's probably ever happened in my entire lifetime as far as electoral politics goes is this debacle regarding the Trump endorsement in the great state of Missouri, where Zach and I live. As you guys might know, if you've been paying any attention, the Republican primary has been quite a clusterfuck this election cycle. There's basically three candidates vying for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate, that being former disgraced governor Eric Greitens, who's accused of domestic abuse of his wife and child, as well as blackmailing his mistress, who he tied up in his basement and took photos of. Yes, that's all true. Look it up. So that's one guy who's in the race. Then there's also Eric Schmidt, who I believe is the attorney general in Missouri. He's more of a normie Republican, just kind of your average Republican, obviously a total piece of shit. And then
we'll still bend over for the Trump crowd. He's not like a never Trump.
No, he's been desperately trying to get Trump's endorsement. Yeah. But still, he's a little bit more of a sane, quote unquote, Republican compared to Eric Greitens, who's just a total dumpster fire.
Which is such a fucking hilarious bar, right? That guy that has fucking beat his child, blackmailed a hooker that he tied up in his basement is like, oh yeah, well, at least he's not that crazy. Like, that's the bar for the United States Senate race in Missouri.
Yeah, exactly. It's a dumpster fire, like I said. Anyway, then we have Vicky Hartzler, who's endorsed by Josh Hawley, who's our other senator. And she's, again, much like Eric Schmidt, kind of trying to vie for the more normie Republican vote. She's a huge TERF. She's a huge bigot, culture warrior. Not a lot of substance in her campaign. If you catch one of her ads on TV, she's talking about trans swimmers, which apparently is an issue that affects Missourians enough to get them to vote for you. I don't know why you would focus your Senate race on that, but, lean into the culture war where you can, I guess. That's the strategy. Anyway, all these candidates have been desperately trying to get Trump's endorsement, specifically Eric Greitens and Eric Schmidt. Both of these guys have been just, doing everything they can, humiliating themselves, trying to get to endorse them. And finally, Trump decided to weigh in last night at the last minute with his endorsement, his long-awaited endorsement. Let's see who he went with. He says, there's a big election in the great state of Missouri, and we must send a MAGA champion, a true warrior to the United States Senate, someone who will fight for border security, election integrity, our military and great veterans, together with having a powerful toughness on crime and the border, a powerful toughness. We need a person who will not back down to the radical left lunatics who are destroying our country. I trust the great people of Missouri on this one to make up their own minds, much as they did when they gave me landslide victories in the 2016 and 2020 elections. And I therefore am proud to announce that Eric has my complete and total endorsement. So if you guys remember what I literally just said, the two candidates that are really vying for Trump's endorsement are Eric Schmidt and Eric Greitens, both named Eric. And Trump just endorsed Eric. He literally just endorsed Eric in all caps without specifying which one. So as this tweet says here, Trump endorses Eric without saying whether it's Greitens or Schmidt, a truly bizarre ending to the battle of the Erics. And the even more hilarious thing about this is what's really, truly hilarious. Instead of trying to get to the bottom of what he meant or trying to understand who he was actually endorsing, both candidates, both Eric Greitens and Eric Schmidt, are graciously thanking Trump for his sincere support and basically saying that they're the ones that got the endorsement. So here's Eric Greitens saying, I'm honored to receive President Trump's endorsement. And here's Eric Schmidt saying, I'm grateful for President Trump's endorsement. What the fuck happened here?
Yeah, so this is fucking hilarious, and it's honestly, it reminds me of what it was like to have Trump involved in politics in a meaningful way, just like strange shit like this happening. And I think that honestly, what I genuinely think it comes down to is in Trump's warped, twisted brain, he actually thought that he could make the following calculus, the following maneuver, and if he can pull it off, then this is actually a good idea on his point. If you're looking at the world through his like Machiavellian lens, which is the fact that he has been taking an ass whooping with every single candidate that he's endorsed endorsed so far, right? Dr. Oz, he endorsed, not doing well. Herschel Walker, he endorsed, not doing well, right? And Trump is an egotist. The number one thing that matters to Trump is his ego, looking like the winner. He hates looking like the loser, right? So what this is the most Trumpian thing ever. He just does the thing. He makes it impossible for him to lose, right? He just picks the person that is guaranteed to win, basically. And if we can really quickly, I just want to throw up this polling really quickly because it's super interesting. If you look at the Republican primary polling for almost the entire Senate race coming up until when those really bad allegations of child abuse came out, Eric Greitens was easily poised to win this race. The Missouri Scout polling consistently found him up numerous times, with only one poll where Eric Schmidt was leading until March of this year. But if you look at this, like, last string of polls that have come out over the last number of weeks as we've inched closer to the election, it's gone from Eric Greitens up 6 to a tie. Trafalgar Group has historically been pretty accurate, but obviously all polling is fucked anyway. So this is just a little bit of like a, testing the waters. But then you see Schmidt go up by 14. This is after the reporting starts to get really bad about Eric Greitens, and he's consistently been +7, +3, +12, +8, +13, except for the fact that Eric Greitens has been the one that has been probably the most MAGA full bore, right? So Trump is caught in between wanting to pick the most MAGA guy, the guy that's like, I'm going rhino hunting in my ads, the most full-on delusional person who's doing shit with Steve Bannon, who has his like crazy MAGA base, right? Like Eric Greitens has leaned in almost harder than any other politician I know to the MAGA base, right? And so it's balancing that with the fact that he knows he's probably going to lose. So he just endorses Eric. It's a very like Trumpian maneuver to just be like, haha, I can change the rules in order to make sure I win.
If it works out that way, then I guess that's what he was going for. But it's still hilarious because if you're actually a Trump voter, you're like, who the hell am I supposed to vote for? Which one's the real MAGA candidate, right? Because it appears that he genuinely couldn't decide, so just endorsed them both. Eric, it seems like Trump Jr. is pretty hardcore on the Eric Greitens camp. If you look at Eric Greitens' Twitter, I'll pull up Eric Greitens' Twitter here. You'll see that his little tweet about being endorsed. See, look, President Trump endorses Eric Greitens, even though he fucking didn't. He endorsed both of them. But as you can see here, he's touting the endorsement of President Trump, but also the endorsement of President Trump's son, Trump Jr. Oh, yeah, there's a couple tweets, but yeah, here's the one with Trump Jr. in this hilariously darkly lit video that he made. Like they literally apparently didn't have any professional lighting in this setup at all, because it looks like it was fucking filmed in like a cellar or something, like a basement or something.
Looks like Eric Greitens held him hostage in that same place he kept the poor woman and was like, please endorse me on camera.
Exactly. So yeah, here's Giuliani. Oh, what a valued endorsement. I'm going to vote for who Giuliani tells me to. But again, it's funny because they're acting like President Trump endorsed Greitens, but he didn't. He just endorsed Eric. It's not clear which one, and they're both trying to claim it as their own. Here's Kimberly Guilfoyle. You might remember her.
Puts America first. Missouri, get out there and vote for Eric Greitens, a true patriot who puts America first, the favorite of the MAGA movement. We need America first, the favorite of the MAGA movement.
I love the way she says the favorite of the MAGA movement. Jesus Christ, what a shit show, man. Anyway, so yeah, that's what's going on in our territory in the great state of Missouri. This absolute, battle of the Erics over Trump's endorsement. And again, they're both acting like Trump endorsed them, because apparently Trump literally couldn't make up his mind. I've never heard of anything like this happening where someone just endorses two people of the same name by using their first name. It really makes no sense to me. But anyway, here's Eric Schmidt's Twitter, the other Eric in the race. And he's a total scumbag Republican, taking a blowtorch to Biden's socialist agenda. I wish Biden had a socialist agenda. Jesus Christ. Anyway, Ted Cruz has endorsed Eric Schmidt. But yeah, as you can see here, he's also pretending like he has President Trump's endorsement. I am grateful for President Trump's endorsement. So funny to watch this going on. Truly a development I couldn't have seen coming.
Yeah, dude, and I think it's so. I mean, there's like even Eric Schmidt, the guy we were just like, oh, is the more reasonable Republican. He's still out here being like the candidate who actually fought for election integrity and like all this kind of shit. Like he can't even help but dog whistle to the January 6th crowd and the like Trump actually won the election crowd. Like he needs those people to vote for him in order to win this fucking primary. So yeah, personally, I think that this is just set up so that it's impossible for Donald Trump to like get this one wrong. But how fucking hilarious would it be, Gavin, if neither Eric wins?
Well, that's what I was kind of joking about on the car ride to our, polling places, where I was like, what if he splits the Eric vote and leads to Vicky Hartzler winning, the third candidate in this race? Because now Trump has instructed his followers to go vote for Eric without specifying which one. It is feasible that that could split the Eric vote and lead to Vicky Hartzler sneaking in, who again is endorsed by Josh Hawley. It'll be really interesting to see how this shapes out, but I just can't stop laughing at the image of the campaign headquarters of Greitens and Schmidt last night when this endorsement was declared. It's like, imagine the mayhem in their campaign offices. What the fuck do we do with this? Trump has just endorsed Eric. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do with it? And they both just decided to run with it and pretend that they were the ones being endorsed. Either way, I really do find this to be one of the most funny stories to come out of the, current ongoing election cycle. And I'm really interested to see who actually ends up winning this race. If I had to predict, I would probably say that it's going to be Eric Schmidt. It seems like Eric Greitens is just so embattled, has so many controversies and scandals that Schmidt will probably prevail. But it's really anyone's game. I really think it's very possible that Greitens squeaks through as well.
Yeah, I would say that I'm definitely. I would say that I think that there's a better chance maybe than I'm like less concerned about Eric Greitens taking it than you are, but I also will recognize that like you can't write the guy off, especially if you look at that polling that I just showed everybody. Like it was like, yes, he fell off a cliff because obviously he would after all those child abuse allegations came out, and there was literally like audio from his ex-wife saying that she was afraid to bring her children around. Like that's pretty damning, even if you're a Republican. Like you don't want to see it like a child beater in office, right?